Alright, so I figured I'd do a quick video here of the current exhaust setup and the issues that I'm going to try to resolve this week and this coming weekend. So first thing is maybe kind of evident here. The left exhaust tip is sticking out a little bit further than the right exhaust tip, and that did not used to be the case. But this is after a little scoot around the block and after some thermal growth and movement of things. This is where things remain. So, yeah, you can kind of see there, left is a little further out than right. Also, if I try to get the camera square on the rear subframe, it's a subtle difference, but the muffler used to be square, or in line horizontally with the chassis and the subframe. But now you can see this part sits a little further back than that part. And so that whole assembly shifted like this. And so all of that is a result of the exhaust thermal growth. And I'll get under the car here and see if I can't get a reasonable picture of what's happening. So that's of course looking at the front of the car. You can see off to the right, that's the charge plumbing that goes up to the intercooler. And then this is the merge from the right bank and the left bank here. And there's a flex coupling up there that allows movement between the two banks of the exhaust. And then there's this flex coupling, which is I thought would be sufficient for the rest of the movement of the system. And it does fine for the just overall movement, but what it doesn't do okay for, it's not enough for, is the thermal growth. So I will twist here. So the thermal growth that I'm going to try to mitigate is between that V-band, which the rest of that plumbing goes all along here. It's a rubber hanger there, just like the factory system. But this system, all the way back to the wastegate and turbo, is all solid. So there, the wastegate, there is that little flex bellow there to allow movement between the turbo and the wastegate. But the rest of that system is solid, so as it heats up, it grows in length and it pushes the turbo and everything else to the back, which makes that exhaust tip stick out more, kind of pulls in the exhaust tip that's over there. So my plan is to leave all of this system the same up until this hanger, and then in this region I will add one bellow, and then a little further down the exhaust, right before this little minor bend, I'll add a second bellow. And as long as I can confirm that those bellows will make up for the thermal growth that I expect based on temperature and coefficient of thermal expansion of this stainless, then that should be sufficient, just those two extra bellows. In addition to those bellows, great camera work, I know, sorry guys. I'll be making a few little minor movements. So this system inlet here will move a little bit to the right, so that'll improve some clearance here. And then between a bracket that I will make that will bolt here to that hole and to this through bolt, I will connect a tie bar. So the tie bar will be connected between the rear chassis subframe, and I'm going to weld something to this turbine exit. So that tie bar will run in this direction, and it will control front to back movement of the turbo and exhaust and everything back here. So it'll constrain, and it will force any thermal growth in the exhaust system between turbo and the engine to occur from there to here. So that's what those bellows will take up for. And then same thing on the charge plumbing side. So I already have a large flex coupling there on the charge bit, but I will add a second tie bar between this side, and it'll almost be a mirror image. So it'll be between the subframe, chassis subframe on this side, and I'm going to go to the charge plumbing. So I'm going to weld on a aluminum chunk here and go with a tie bar front to back here. So the two tie bars will be able to move in this direction and will allow some movement side to side, but ultimately they will prevent front to back movement of this system. And as you can see here, that's where the rubbing occurs that I first noticed between the e-booster and the charcoal canister bracket. And you can see here actually, as things cooled back down, the gap increased and they're no longer rubbing. But when things heat up, everything grows and pushes to the back. So that's one of the changes I need to make moving forward. So I'll be doing that this week and this weekend, and testing out the following week. Hopefully it'll work.